Still on the WNBA topic, we are checking out this video of Stephen A. Smith going off on the WNBA drafting. Um, and this is going to be interesting because two former NBA players, Enes, is that how you say his name? Kanter and Royce White, are willing to play for the WNBA. And a lot of people are showing them support, saying these two brave women should play for the WNBA. Why not? Why are they discriminating against them? So let's watch this video, which I was very curious about. And it's a story that I just found out about, and it's a curious one. That's why I wanted to check it out. But I don't want to feel the fire or play into the controversy or anything like that. This is just for pure entertainment. And I was having a blast with the comments. You guys are really funny. Let's check it out.
Enes Kanter Freedom and
Enes. Okay, so it rhymes with
Royce White. They both announced that they intend, these are men, one is 6 feet 10. The other's about 6'8", 260. Their positions they're of the mindset that they should be eligible for the WNBA draft, the 2027 WNBA draft. Their announcement was framed as challenges to the WNBA's rules governing transgender player eligibility. This is Enes Kanter Freedom. Listen to what he said.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently.
But seriously, how does someone called Enes apply for the WNBA?
And without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
This is Royce White speaking about the WNBA. Listen to him.
Earlier this week, I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball.
Wait, run that back. You identify as sometimes identifying?
As sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. Well, I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable, but I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University. So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in crazy times. And it's about to get crazier. It's about to get crazier unless people are willing to stand up on principle and say, this is what it is, this is what it's going to be, this is the way it's going to stay, come hella high water. Sounds like mockery, it sounds like all of these things, but keep in mind, their announcement were framed as challenges to the WNBA's transgender player eligibility rules. The key factual distinction that we have to point out, according to Article 13, Section 1A of the WNBA Collective Bargaining Agreement, quote, only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. Seems clear, wouldn't you say? The current WNBA collective.
It should be clear, right? But it's not. There are you have to read between the lines here. There are other interpretations of it, I guess.
Seems clear, wouldn't you say? The current WNBA collective bargaining agreement says only players who are women are eligible, but it does not further define women or specify criteria involving gender identity, sex assigned at birth, hormone levels, or physical characteristics. It also does not say that self-identification alone automatically makes a player eligible. So because that's open for debate, it required a response from WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, who sent a memo to teams last Friday saying the issue would be discussed by a task force of team presidents and general managers. The WNBA separately defended inclusion and condemned hate while saying the union, quote, will not be used as political pawns. Here's Stephen A. talking. It's too damn late.
It is, isn't
It's
it?
too damn late. If your rules were more finite and clear, you wouldn't have to have a meeting of team presidents and general managers.
Oh my gosh, man. This is what I said in my previous video. This is corporate trying to play on both sides. They don't want to clarify what they think a woman is, but they also don't want to say that, you know, biological men cannot play. They don't want to. They want to play both sides. They don't want to be. They prefer being vague rather than getting in the wrong side of each debate, because this is a big debate, you know. So they don't want to pick sides. They don't want to define something because they want to avoid backlash. And in doing so, they're getting more controversy and more backlash. And now they have to change the rules and be more specific to avoid players like this. But if they do that, they will have lost to one of the sides. So they're in a very tough position right now, because now they have to define what they think is a woman, where the debate is very strong. And that's going to be a nightmare for them. But it's too late. It's too late now because it's open for interpretation, I guess. But anyways, it's fun to watch, isn't it?
You're the commissioner. You should already know. We literally are living in a society where there has to be a debate involving a collective bargaining agreement that explicitly states that the league is for women. Only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. So one could easily surmise, okay, you're a woman, that makes you eligible. If you're not a woman, you're not eligible. It's simple and plain. What's the complication? The complication is that our society has devolved to a point where we're not clear what defines a woman. At least in the eyes of some. So while Royce White or Enes Kanter Freedom may be accused of trolling and engaging in mockery and being a bit ridiculous, fine. What about the WNBA? What about the WNBA? Enes Kanter Freedom.
And hey, they are, I think, the first. I think there will be a lot more. I think there will be a lot more if WNBA doesn't respond, or if they don't do anything about it. I think there will be a lot more. And I do believe it's silly. You know, I don't see this happening all over the world. I see this happening in specific parts of the world. But it's insane that we have this debate, at least for me, right? Not in terms of people identifying as, they can identify as whatever gender they want, but the fact that you have to set rules for specific leagues is crazy to me, because we have the men's league and we have the women's league. Whether you think men could be women or women could be men, you know, that's a personal opinion. And I feel like if anything, there should be 3 leagues or 4 leagues. If there are 3 or 4 or 5 genders, make a league for each gender. But you define male as a gender, right? So let male have that gender. I mean, that league. I know it's so complicated because I don't even understand the debate. I just feel like WNBA and every women's sport already have a tough time growing, fighting the salary gap, fighting the attention that they need also to grow their leagues, because a lot of people have their attention in the men's league, and the women, they fight for their attention as well, because there's only a limited amount of sponsors, a limited amount of eyeballs. So they are competing against this, and now they also have to compete and understand, like, if women actually have a competitive position in their league, because now other men identifying as women with a higher level of hormones and having more muscle and a more, like, they're taller. Now women have to worry about that as well in their leagues. I feel like this is a step back for women's sports, because it feels like if you don't define one thing and say, listen, these are the rules. Biological women are the only ones who can play here. Hormone levels are set at this and that. If you don't do that, then these things will happen. Even though these guys are trolling, probably, I feel like, I watched Joanna, man, and I feel like there are men who will take advantage of this, which we have seen in other sports like track and field. We've seen that. People who are not exceptional in their sports, and I'm not naming names because I don't know, but men who haven't excelled in their sports, but they want to live that dream, will try out in the women's category. And the only thing they need to do is to declare they're a woman, even if they're not. I'm not saying they aren't, but it can happen. It's the same thing that's happening with the visa here in the UK, where people are declaring themselves gay and getting asylum, saying, oh, in my country, it's illegal to be gay, so I need asylum. And they're tricking the system, they're gaming the system. So this is a step back to women's sports. It's a step back to the trans movement. And I don't know, it feels like it's so ridiculously silly that this is even a debate. It's just bad for everyone, I guess. It's just bad for everyone, I guess. But anyways, I've spoken a lot. I don't want to, as I said, I don't want to add to the controversy, but let me know your thoughts about this. I just thought it was entertaining to see, because these guys are clearly being sarcastic, and I know that people will be offended by what they're trying to do, but at the same time, is it their fault, or are they just seeing an opportunity to, do some PR, get their names back in the media? And that's what I'm saying. If you don't have things that are clear, people will take the opportunity and they will do whatever they want to do. And I don't think people should be offended by what they're trying to do. I just feel like the corporations and everyone who's on the top, they need to be considerate and decide, and not try to play both sides. Just decide. It's your league, it's your association. Just say how it's supposed to be. And then people will love it or hate it. But pick a side, I guess. You can't be in the gray area. And my opinion is that biological women should have their league, biological men should have their league. That's it. If you want a third league, do whatever you want. It's just hard to do it. It's just hard, I guess. But you will get your audience, you will get your community involved, and that's it. For me, at least. Anyways, you get the drill. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you want me to do more of these videos. I know it's a little bit risky, and I don't play into controversy. I just thought the comments were hilarious, and I wanted to share this story with you guys. And I know it's a serious topic. It might sound silly, but as Stephen A. Smith said, it is a serious thing. And if people don't take measures, it will only get worse. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Bye-bye.